Hi and welcome to the Sewing Studio. I'm Anna, and in this video I am going to tell you all about the Brother F540E embroidery only machine. I'm going to talk you through its features and functions, show you everything that comes in the box with the machine. I'll show you how to load a design to embroider and what the quality of the stitches look like, and then I'll talk a bit about warranty and support. So we've split all of those into chapters. If there's a particular section you're interested in, feel free to head there. Now, I work here at the Sewing Studio. We are a physical store as well as an online store, and we keep lots of top brand machines. All of us that work here are sewers ourselves, and we pride ourselves on knowing our machines inside out. So if there's anything you need, just simply get in touch. And don't forget, if you like what you're seeing, subscribe to our channel and hit the little bell to be notified when we upload a new video similar to this one or one of our amazing free tutorials. So let's get into the Brother F540. Now, as I mentioned, this is an embroidery only machine, and it's a great model for those starting out on their embroidery journey. The maximum area that you can achieve on this machine is 180 millimeters by 130, which is 7 by 5 inches. So it's got quite a nice area on there for you to cover a lot of different projects. Now, it has designs built in the machine. It's got 193 with around 15 different fonts on there, and they're all located in this touchscreen here. Now, the machine has wireless capabilities, so you can transfer designs to the machine wirelessly, or you can do it via a USB stick as well. Now, within that screen as well is where you would edit your designs, so put two designs together, create things that you want to create in there. It also has a colour sorting function. So this is a single needle machine. So every time there is a colour change, you'll be rethreading. But you can sort those colours. So with the built-in designs, if the same colour appears, 2 or 3 threads down, you can use the colour sort, and then it will do all of that colour in one. So it will minimise the amount of thread changes that you have to do. There's also a built-in thread cutter down here, so it will also take care of all the jump stitches for you. So your embroidery is left nice and neat and tidy. Now, when it comes to your thread changes, threading's nice and easy. There's a numbered thread path for you to follow, as well as a built-in needle threader to thread the eye of the needle. The bobbin is a drop-in bobbin, so it's nice and easy to load, and then you've got the easy set function there where you lay the thread in and there's no need to drop the bobbin thread. The machine does all that for you. Now, when the machine arrives with you, it'll be with this embroidery module off. So let me just take this off a moment. And that makes it really handy as well if you wanted to, take it to a class to learn how to use it or out and about and things. It's in 2 manageable sections. Just pop that back on. And then in the box, you'll also find the largest size hoops, the 7 by 5, that's inches, and then a grid template to go on there as well to help you with positioning. You've got a reel of bobbin thread and some extra bobbins, and then some other accessories that all fit in this little pouch. There's a dust cover here, your power lead, there's a full instruction manual, a little booklet with all the designs that are built in the machine in it, and then a quick reference guide. When you switch the machine on, you'll get your design file screen. So these are all the built-in ones, they're like folders. And if you want to access any that you've saved, those are down here. So within here, you'll find a couple of different folders with designs that you can scroll through. If you want to see any of them bigger, I'll just press on that one. You can select it and then press on the symbol up in the corner here, and then you can see a representation of it bigger there for you. Okay. So I'm going to go back now. And then in this one, there's multiple designs as well. So when you get the machine, you can have a scroll through them, but don't forget there's also the design guide book where you can go through and find all the designs in there. So I'm going to select this teapot in there, and this is what I want to embroider out. So I'm going to set that. So I just very simply click on the word set, or press on the word set. Now I'm also going to add some text in underneath. So I want to move the teapot up. So I go to move. I can pick it up and move it around within the screen there. And then you can make minor incremental adjustments on the arrows there. So that's where I want it to be. So I'm going to go OK. I then want to, as I say, add some words in underneath. So I'm going to go to add and then into the font. Again, these are your different fonts. So I'm just going to go for a standard and let's, what are we doing, a teapot. So let's write time for tea. So if I scroll through to find a capital T, and then I'm going to go to a medium size, and then lowercase is just further on, so you carry on scrolling. So IME. On the next page you'll find a space, and then I can go FOR space TE and back to A. Okay, so if I change it to small, that will now fit within the hoop size, so I can set that. And then it's popped it centered to the hoop basically. So I'm going to move that down. And that is a bit small for what I want, so I'm going to make that bigger by going into size. And then you've got arrows that are all going out that way, which indicates that you can make it bigger. So keep my finger on that, and then the size is increasing. You could also shrink it that way or expand it that way if you wanted a long text, or squeeze it in that way as well if you wanted to, whichever way you wanted to do it. Now with the text as well, you can change it so that each letter is a different colour if you wanted to. You're able to change the font at this point if you change your mind, but you can also do what they call array, which is to curve it slightly. So if I choose that one, you can see it's curved. I don't want it on as much as a curve of that because I want it to sit along the bottom of the teapot. So I'm just going to make it less of a curve there. Okay, and now what it's done is it's spaced it out quite a lot, so I want to bring it back in. So I'm going to go to this one here and then just reduce the spacings down. Okay, and okay. And then what I want to do is move it up so it sits more to the bottom of the teapot. And actually I'm going to move the teapot down a bit as well. Okay. Now you're able to mirror image these. So if you wanted the teapot facing the opposite direction, you can just press the mirror image and that will quite simply do that for you. And if you wanted to rotate a design, you can do in quite small degrees, just 1 degree, you've got 10 degrees and you've got 90 degrees as well. So you can go right the way around. I'm going to put that back, reset to the beginning. So there's lots of different editing things that you can do in there. Now this design has preset colours, and in the settings you'll find here you can choose a brand of thread that you're using. Now don't get me wrong, there's hundreds of different brands of thread on the market. These are just the most common ones. So you've got Brother's own brands, and then Madeira Poly, Madeira Rayon, Gutermann Sulky, etc, etc. I'm using Madeira Rayon because that's what we sell in our shop. In here as well, you can change your measurements from millimetres to inches if that's what you'd rather work with. You can adjust the speed, so the maximum speed that this machine will stitch is 650 stitches per minute. But if you're embroidering something quite delicate, you might want to reduce that down. And there's all sorts of different settings that you can do in here. You know, if the buzz annoys you, you can turn that off. You can really tailor it to how you like to work. And actually, whilst I'm talking about settings and things, in this one here, you'll find some different operation guides. So if you need a reminder on how to thread the machine, how to remove the embroidery arm, how to load the hoop, things like that, they're all there at your fingertips. Anyway, let's go back to our design. So what I want to do now is I want to see what this is going to look like in the colours that I've chosen that I want to stitch it out in. So if you select this button here with the spool and the different colours, you're able to change the colours that it's represented as on the screen. In this box here, it gives you a representation of the piece and the colour that it's on. So this is of the vines that are inside the teapot. So I'm just going to go to the pages with the greens and choose the green that I want to use. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to move on to the next colour, which is the little florally bits inside, which I'm going to do in a plummy colour. So I'll just go down to there and then move on to the next one, which are the accent flowers, which I will do in pink. Move on to the next one, lighter pink, and then the outline, which I'm going to do in the green again. If I find that. Okay. Oh, I keep pressing OK. I don't mean to. It sets it, and then I need to move on to, let's just go back. I was there, and then I want to do the words in the green as well. So I move along to the green page, down, and OK. Now if you want to see that bigger, again you can press on that and then you can see how that's going to stitch out. Okay. So this is how my embroidery looks and how I want to stitch it out. So I finished editing, so I'm going to go to Edit, End. And what we're going to do now is get the machine threaded. So we'll thread the bobbin first. So in with the accessories you get some bobbin fill, and it's a specific one for embroidery. So I've wound some onto this bobbin and I'm going to load it in. So you just want to push that to the right and the door pops up. There'll be an empty one in there when the machine arrives, so you can either use that one. I'm just going to take that out. Drop it in with the tail of thread to the left. And then I usually keep my finger on it for a bit of tension, and you're going under this lip here. So you just take it under, right the way around, and then there's a little cutter in that grey bit that just cuts it off for you. And then you can just pop the cover back on, like so. And then for the top thread, so if we go to the embroidery screen now, you'll see here it's giving you information about the embroidery. So there's 12,725 stitches. It's going to take 23 minutes and there's 6 colour changes. And this here is the piece that it's going to do first. So the first colour it wants is my green. Now I know that the green will also stitch out further down the line in the time for tea. So if I go back a stage and if I select these 3 spools here, that's the colour sort function. So I've now asked it to sort the colours. So if I go back to the embroidery screen, you'll see it's now put the 2 greens together, whereas they were separate before. So green is the first colour. So I'm going to grab this reel and then I'm going to take the spool cap off and just pop that on. Put the spool cap back on. You don't want to clamp that too tight because it does still need to spin, but tight enough that it's not going to be moving all over the place. And then I'm just going to follow the numbered thread path. So we've got number 1, and then the arrows take me around there, into number 2, down around number 3, and then back and forth. I like to hold on to it and give it a little tug there to make sure it's in the take-up lever. Down to number 5, and then in the guide just above the needle, number 6. Now number 7 is the needle threader. So at this point I like to just drop the foot to give the needle threader a bit more room. And you want to make sure the needle's in the right position. So you can do that by using the needle up down button. So press it once to send it down and press it again to lift it back up. And then the thread just goes in under there and on top of number 7 there. I'm just going to cut the excess off on the cutter, and then with this lever just go down and up, whoops, and then the needle's threaded for me. So I'm going to raise the presser foot again. I've got my hoop with some white felt and some standard tearaway stabiliser. So I'm going to pop this on and then clip that in, drop the presser foot down and make a start on the embroidery. So it's completed everything that it wants to do in that colour for a minute. So we'll change this out. So I'm just going to snip the thread and then raise the presser foot and take that bit out. Take that colour off. And then I want my plum colour. So I'm just going to pop that one on. And then thread it in exactly the same way as I did for the green. In there, drop the foot, needle threader, and then off you go. So the machine gives you a little beep and tells you that it's finished embroidering. So you can just press OK. Now, if you wanted to do another one of these, you can just leave that as it is and then change out your hoop for some fresh fabric and just go again. But let's take a look at the results. So you just want to take the hoop off, and you do that just by pushing on this pin here, and that releases it, and then you can lift it off. Like so. Raise the presser foot. And as you can see, this machine stitches beautifully, both when it's doing single line and when it's doing the satin stitches. And these little ends here that you get occasionally, those can just be snipped off to give you a nice clean piece. And on the reverse, it's nice and tight, everything's where it needs to be, and you can just leave these tails of thread. But if you were doing something that was double-sided, so like a blanket or something, and you're using the same colour thread, you can again just snip these off to tidy it all up. Now, if that's a design that you've done that you really, really like, you can save it to the memory on the machine. So if we come out of the embroidery mode, you've got this little kind of patch with an arrow going in it, which is to save it down. So if you press that one, you can save it on a USB stick, you can save it via Wi-Fi, I couldn't think of that word then, or just on the machine, which is what I'm going to do. So it's saving, and then that's committed to memory now. So if we get rid of this design now, so okay, we cancel that. If we wanted to then bring it back up, we go to the same symbol, it's saved on the machine, and you can see there's our design. You can set it, and it's brought it back up for you. Okay, so that's how to very easily stitch out a design on a piece of fabric. But what if you wanted to position something in a specific area, like a logo or something like that? Let's just choose a word a minute. Let's keep this simple. Let's just go for the word brother. I'll go down to medium. O. Let's do it all in capitals. Oops, I didn't do that on purpose. I've missed the O out. So actually, if you want to go back, you can just press delete and go back that way. So I need an O, T, H, E, and R. Okay, so I'm just going to set that. Now, as soon as you set a design, it always puts it smack bang in the middle of the standard size hoop, which is the 7x5. So I'm just going to pop this on a moment. So you just want to go under the foot there. Don't do what I just did and get it the wrong way around. So you want to go under the foot, and then you've got the two pins that line up on there, and you can just push it, oops, just push it on. So I'll move that out of the way. And then what I've done is I've drawn a line on the fabric, and I need that line, that word, sorry, to sit exactly on that line. So I can move it around here, but I'm not going to know at the moment where that's going to stitch out in relation to my line. So I don't want to do anything else to it. That's what I want to stitch. So I'm going to edit end. And then what I can do now is move it, and in this screen, the needle is moving at the same time. So I'm going to get it up to my line, so it's just above. And now what I want to do is see where the whole word is going to stitch out, basically. Excuse me. And I can do that with this one here. So if I press this one, what we're going to do is follow the needle, and it will basically draw a box with the needle, not literally, just following it, and it will show you where that's going to sew. So I'm going to go OK. So already from that, I can see that it's going to fall too far down in relation to my line. So I'm going to move it up again and then check again. And this time it's a bit too far up. So I'm going to go down and then I'm going to go into check. But if I press this one, it will just take me to that middle base point there. So I can now check and look. I can also turn the hand wheel so I can see where the needle is going to hit. Not where it's going to hit, where it's going to penetrate the fabric to sew the stitch, basically, which is a couple of millimeters just above my line, which is where I want it. And if I go over to this corner, that's where it's going to start. And if I go over to there, that's where it's going to finish. So I can also see that it's going to finish too far either side of my line. So I'm going to go OK, and I'm going to go back to edit, and I'm going to make it slightly smaller. We'll go for that. And then I just repeat the same process. So it's now going to start at the beginning of my line, and it's going to finish at the end of my line. And it might be that you need to go back and adjust it again, but that's how you would do that. So I've popped a navy thread on because the Brother brand is blue, and we'll stitch that out a minute. So I go to embroidery. There's just the one colour, and it's going to take just 2 minutes. So I drop the presser foot, and away we go. Now I want to show you at this point what happens if your thread breaks or the bobbin runs out. What do you do? Does it automatically mean a ruined item? No. So it will tell you if something has gone wrong, but inevitably it will have done a few stitches first. So I'm going to raise the needle and cut the thread. And if it's just that the top thread is run out, you can just re-thread that. If it's the bobbin thread, don't touch anything on the screen, lift the presser foot, take the frame out, rewind your bobbin, do everything that you need to do there and re-thread it, pop your frame back on, and then what you want to do is go back a few stitches so that you don't get a gap in your design, and you can do that with this symbol here, which is the point of the needle and a plus and a minus, and it gives you the option to go back just 1 stitch, 10 stitches, 100 stitches, a whole colour, and forward as well if you go back too many. I normally do about 10 is a good rule of thumb when something breaks and happens. So you just select 10, go OK, drop the presser foot, and then carry on again. This machine comes with a 3-year warranty for domestic use and 1-year warranty if you're using it for commercial purposes. And in the box, you'll find this card that explains all that to you and how to register your machine with Brother. Now, I hope I've managed to give you an insight into the Brother F540E embroidery machine and show you how easy it is to use, its capabilities, and how beautifully it embroiders out. Hopefully that's helped you make your mind up that this is the right machine for you, and if so, head on over to our website and grab yours now. Delivery is fast and it's free.